Welcome back to another FPL video. In this video, I'll take a quick look at last week's score in game week 2. I'll keep it short because I have a non-Haaland team and it was really painful to watch that Man City game. I'll take a look at the watch list as well and the players who did well. And I'll take a look at possible transfers, my team for game week 3 and my captain selection for the next game week. So let's have a look. 66 points for me in game week 2, not the best score compared to others, especially those who used their triple captain on Haaland. 6 players who blanked in my team and 5 players who returned: Henderson, Guardiola, Bruno Fernandes, SA, Calvert-Lewin and Isak all blanked, while I got clean sheets from Gabriel and Van Dijk, and Son did really well. Jota got an assist, Salah 10 points from him. So not the worst game week, scoring 66 points without having Haaland, and the captaincy and Mo Salah actually went pretty well. But of course, my rank took a big hit as Norwegian scored a hat-trick against Ipswich at home. We all knew that this was a risk going without Haaland, and we knew that they were playing newly promoted Ipswich in game week 2. But luckily for me, my replacements Son and Salah did well. My third option that I went for instead of going Haaland is Bruno Fernandes. He has been really unlucky in game week 1 and 2, so hopefully he can start delivering soon. As we're getting close to game week 3, I know that a lot of transfers have been done this game week. We've already seen a couple of price changes, so Bruno is definitely one to consider selling. Same goes for SA. Isak, I've seen a lot of transfers out for him as well. Calvert-Lewin, his price has dropped to 5.9, so I have some difficulties in my team. Jota as well, we saw that both Darwin Núñez and Gakpo come in for them in their last game. So for how long will he continue starting for Liverpool? So a couple of question marks in my team, but at this point I've not really considered playing the wildcard, and I'll discuss the transfers in the next section. So at first glance, this team doesn't really look good on paper. 7 away games and a lot of hard fixtures as well. Henderson plays at the Stamford Bridge against Chelsea, Van Dijk against United. Gabriel has a decent fixture at home against Brighton, and the same goes for Man City playing against West Ham, although it's away. In midfield, Salah and Jota, same as Van Dijk, playing at the Old Trafford against Man United, and Bruno is in that fixture as well. Son away at Newcastle, and SA playing against Chelsea. Up top, Calvert-Lewin probably has the best fixture in my team this week, but he's probably the worst player. Isak playing against Tottenham, he hasn't done as expected in the first couple of game weeks. He was kind of unlucky in game week 1 when they get a red card in the first half, but against Bournemouth in game week 2 I was really expecting more from the Swede. So a couple of tough fixtures for my players. I might consider doing a transfer or 2, but after taking a closer look at the stats and the fixtures, I might even save a transfer this game week. Let's have a look at transfer options. One transfer that is really tempting is bringing in Cole Palmer. He is an excellent player, and in game week 2 against Wolves he looked really good. He got 3 assists and he also scored a goal. So Cole Palmer, he is the real deal, and we know that he is also on penalties for Chelsea. Bruno, the same goes for him. He is the talisman in that Man United team, but can we trust their attack? There is a price gap between Bruno Fernandes and Cole Palmer, so I can't make this transfer in one move, so I need another downgrade to allow an upgrade from Bruno to Cole Palmer. If I go through with the Cole Palmer plan, selling Bruno and bringing in the Englishman from Chelsea, I might downgrade Jota and bring in Rodgers from Aston Villa. I like Aston Villa's fixtures, and Rodgers, he has also done well when it comes to eye test and stats. And Jota, we know that he is probably on borrowed time. We cannot be sure that Jota will start every game going forward. You know that a lot of managers has brought Jota in. We have seen his price rise from 7.5 to 7.6, but this could very well be a good time to jump off Jota as well. Another option for me is to sell SA. He has not performed as expected in game week 1 and game week 2, but after taking a closer look at his stats, I might consider keeping him for game week 3 as well. So let's take a look at the watch list. This is the watch list part 1. 3 players that a lot of managers are bringing in right now: Saka from Arsenal, Watkins from Aston Villa, and Mbeumo from Brentford. I know that these are really good fantasy options, but I will show you that there are probably better options out there. So Saka, if I were to bring in a heavy hitter in midfield, I would go for Cole Palmer, considering Arsenal's next fixtures. They are really tough, while Cole Palmer actually has decent fixtures in his next couple of games. Watkins, he and Aston Villa have probably got the best fixture run going forward, but I don't really like what I've seen from Watkins so far. His performances hasn't been that good, and he probably needs a couple of more games before starting to fire. So if we take a look at the stats comparing him to SA, we can see that Watkins hasn't really been involved in Aston Villa's attack so far. Mbeumo, same as with Saka. I like Mbeumo as an option, especially now that Tony is not playing. He is nailed on and on penalties as well, but when we take a look at Brentford's fixtures in the next couple of games, I can't really see him being one of the most performing midfielders. So on the other hand, if I were to make a transfer this game week, I would probably bring in, as mentioned, Rodgers. He has done really good for Aston Villa. He is mid-table when it comes to stats, and he has also gotten a lot of praise on the Aston Villa fan forum. Palmer, of course, his performance in game week 2 was sublime. He did really well and looked good on the ball. He looked like the player that he was in the last season. We know that he is a really good player and on penalties for Chelsea. Same goes for Muniz when it comes to stats. He is one of the players with the best attacking stats in the first couple of game weeks. So these are players that have both stats and fixtures, and they also passed the eye test, getting into good positions. So I think that Rodgers, Palmer and Muniz are good transfers right now. My captain for game week 3 will probably be Son. Maybe a bit surprising, seeing it's away at the St. James's Park against Newcastle, but when we take a closer look at Newcastle's performance, I think that captaining Son might be a really good idea. So when it comes to clean sheets, Newcastle in game week 1, they kept a clean sheet and they only conceded 1 goal in game week 2. But when they have 5 big chances conceded in those 2 games, and they have actually conceded 35 shots, and that's the worst in the league. When it comes to expected goal against them is 4.03, which is 19th in the league, only beaten by newly promoted Ipswich. So they still have a couple of the best centre backs injured, and that includes Chad, who is still suspended for game week 3 after getting a red card in game week 1. So that's what I'm planning to do at the moment. I have 2 free transfers, but I'm really planning to roll 1 more, so I have 3 free transfers for the next game week. My players that are not performing, SA, Bruno, they are not terrible options, as we can see in the stats, and they are also nailed on for their teams and still on penalties. So hopefully the fortune will turn and they will deliver in game week 3. If I were to go through with the plans of selling Bruno and Jota and bringing in Cole Palmer and Rodgers, I would probably captain Cole Palmer in game week 3 instead of Son, but right now I'm leaning towards saving a transfer and captaining Son against Newcastle at the St. James's Park. Let me know in the comments down below, have you done a transfer this game week, or are you planning on doing a transfer? And what will be your captain pick in game week 3? I would strongly advise you to wait as long as possible when it comes to transfers. At least wait until Friday when we have the information from the press conferences. 14 players from the Premier League are playing midweek games this week, so a lot can happen. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you want more FPL content. If you want a video with 6 concrete tips on how to better your FPL rank, click on the video in the right hand corner.